Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Niladri Mukherjee. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I practice in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. So on a major announcement, the Minister Sean Fraser has put in 13 more countries into the visa-free travel exemption list, meaning that if you are from one of those 13 specific countries, you can now travel to Canada as a tourist for a period of 6 months without a visa. This is a great announcement. This is a great news and would give a sigh of relief to a good number of applicants, good number of candidates, because I know for a fact, based on the consultations, that a good number of people from a good part of those 13 countries are trying hard to get a Canadian tourism visa. Now, I will put the detailed list of 13 countries in the description below for you to go through, but there are a few countries that really caught my attention. The one of which is Trinidad and Tobago. Secondly, it is Thailand. Thirdly, Philippines, and fourthly, it is Morocco. I know I get a lot of consultations from people of those countries because they want to come to Canada as a tourist to explore various different opportunities. So now that you will be able to come to Canada without a visa, here are a couple of, I would say, advice for you to, sort of to make sure that you are able to utilize these things to the best of your advantage, to the best of your knowledge, and you do not end up doing something that you should not be doing in the first place, right? So let's just try to understand the kind of people that want to come to Canada on a visitor visa. The first segment is that you want to come to Canada as a visitor, go and see Niagara Falls, the entire, go back to the country. Second part is that you come to Canada to meet your friends and family, meet and visit them, and you go back to your country. The third part is the one that maybe in the express entry pool, maybe in the provincial nominations pool, they are trying to come to Canada on a permanent basis, are still in that process, and in the meanwhile they want to come to Canada on temporarily to explore how the country is. Maybe they want to convert the visitor visa into work permit, maybe to convert the visitor visa into study permit, or maybe to see if they get a job offer to apply for potentially programs such as Atlantic Immigration Program or Rural and Northern Immigration Program. So I'm really focusing on that very last segment as to what you can do, what you cannot do. First and foremost thing that you really cannot do is to come to Canada on a visitor visa, in this case without a visa, as a tourist, so to say, and work. So never ever work in Canada while you are on any temporary visa that does not give you any work authorization. This is very important for you to keep in mind. What you can do, however, is that to find employment. So there is no harm in you to meeting employers to see if they're interested to hire you. So explore those options. And while talking about the employment and the work permit and everything else, please do not think of converting the visitor visa into a work permit in the first place. There are many other options that you can potentially think of. For example, if you go to Nova Scotia and are able to find a job offer from there, the employer would then be able to apply for Atlantic Immigration Program based on that job offer without even the hassle of going through the LMIA process. The similar story is there for the Rural and Northern Immigration Program as well. For example, if you happen to get a job offer from Timmins in Ontario, for example, the same story would apply. The employer would be able to apply for a work permit without an LMIA based on the community recommendation, and your PR will be processed simultaneously after the work permit is approved, maybe, right? So these are all the options that are on the table, but make sure you utilize them to the best of your advantage. Secondly, if your potential objective is to maybe to explore the colleges here in Canada, come and explore the colleges, go to their campus, see the kind of infrastructure they have, visit those universities, and maybe shortlist a college. What you do not want to do is to convert your temporary status into a student while you're inside Canada. Generally speaking, the rejection rates for those kind of cases are quite high and would probably be quite high as well. But if you are able to go back to your country, or maybe you are inside Canada and applying as an outside Canada student, that potential really goes up. I mean, the application approval potential really goes up. Again, it's a very case specific situation, but that's the general rule of thumb. So what you can do, come and visit the colleges, meet those instructors, universities, and everything else. What you should not do is to try to convert the visitor visa into a study visa outrightly as an inside Canada applicant. You can still do that, but there are lots of like ifs and buts as to what you can do, what you cannot do. Thirdly, what you can really do is to explore the country in terms of provincial nominee perspective. Now, this is something that many people do not talk about. Hypothetically speaking, you have a profile in the express entry system, you have a profile in Saskatchewan, or for example, you have a profile in Manitoba. Maybe you are coming and landing in Toronto and visiting Manitoba or Saskatchewan for a few days just to make sure your ties to that very particular province is becoming stronger, however small way that is. If you have received a nomination, if you have received a provincial nomination from Saskatchewan, hypothetically speaking, and if you're coming and visiting Saskatchewan before your application submission, you can very well mention that, you know what, I'm so interested in your province that I specifically paid a ton of money to come to Canada and visited Saskatchewan just to ensure that I end up liking that province, something like that. So from a provincial nomination perspective, what you otherwise call as exploratory visit could be used as like tremendous advantage if you are to visit those provinces which you think may offer you potential provincial nomination opportunities. So these are the practical things that you can do. There are many things, as I have mentioned, that you cannot do or you should not do. So if you would like me to consult on your case specific situation, if you're coming to Canada, want to understand how you can stay here for a longer term, how you can stay here and do not go back, and how you can be a permanent resident of Canada while on a visitor visa, maybe with the help of something like Atlantic Immigration Program or Rural and Northern Immigration Program, the first step is to book a consultation. That will give me an opportunity to talk to you in detail, discuss your situation, to provide a case specific analysis. Without that, it will be very, very difficult to comment. So if you need a professional assistance, hop onto the website nuvonation.ca, book a consultation. We'll be more than happy to have a case specific discussion with you. Hope this helps, guys, and all the very best. Bye now.